Ladies and gentlemen, Siskel and Ebert.
Our next film, Passion in the Desert, begins in 1798 when a French painter and his military guide have become separated from Napoleon's North African army. Soon the painter, played by Michel Piccoli, goes mad from thirst, drinks up all of his paint, and dies. The soldier, played by Ben Daniels, struggles on. Death is near when he discovers an ancient temple, a nearby cave, and a pool of water. But the refuge seems to belong to another traveler in the desert. He names the leopard Samoom, and slowly, warily, the soldier and the leopard accept each other. Eventually, what develops between the leopard and the soldier is a form of love, as the man and the beast frolic together. Passion in the Desert is based on a short story by Balzac. It wasn't a story I was familiar with, and looking it up, I discovered that it was originally called A Passion in the Desert. Balzac's title suggests the Passion of Christ. The movie's title suggests just plain passion, and I, for one, was not convinced that Samoom and the soldier have much of a romantic future together. I don't know. I'm sure the movie was a real challenge. The actor worked closely with real leopards, but in the last analysis, this is a pointless folly.
Well, I thought that the amount of time spent with the leopard was just basically because they didn't have another story to tell.
But that is the story.
I mean, yeah, that becomes the thing because it's so striking and unusual. But my problem was, I thought the painter was the more interesting character. How about you?
Well, the painter obviously was supposed to be one of these military historians who goes and paints the battles and so forth. Piccoli is a great actor.
Wonderful.
This movie is about the guy and the leopard, and I just didn't want to see a movie about this guy and this leopard, and I didn't really believe for 1 minute that relationship
of course.
was possible.
Yeah, absurd.
Or
You're sitting there thinking, what am I watching this for? You know,
maybe it's a metaphor. That's the whole thing. Of what? I don't know.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Black and White Reviews.
Oh boy.
I'm Lee, and I've agreed to be here. And to do this. Out of fairness. So. You guys? Oh, you can't even contain yourself. Are you muted now?
No.
No.
Okay.
This is great. Hi, I'm
right.
Chuck, and
This was all your idea.
yeah, and I am passionate about this. I am passionate about this podcast today. No pun intended.
Of course you are.
I am Will, and I am spotless.
This movie is Anakin. This movie is Anakin Skywalker's nightmare because there's just sand everywhere.
Okay, so let's explain what's going on here. So, I know we've talked about this on multiple conversations, but Chuck mentioned that 25 years ago, his mother rented a movie for he and his dad to watch. Like, oh, this sounds great. Maybe they'll like it. And then she basically, I feel like your mother knew what this was. She gave the movie to you guys, and then she just left for the night, and like locked you guys in from the outside, so you had to sit there and watch it. Like, I believe that's what really happened here. But so this movie, Passion in the Desert, was released released in 1997. It's a PG-13 film, which I would say is an accurate rating.
I wouldn't.
I wouldn't.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just saying, like, it could go PG if it wasn't for the
Nudity.
Yeah.
It.
This movie. Oh man.
We'll save that.
Well, let's just explain what this basically is. Young French officer is escorting a dude somewhere, and then he gets stuck out in the desert. That's basically he gets lost.
So it's Napoleon's War. He is a French soldier who is in Egypt. His platoon.
Yeah.
Things go wrong, and he ends up wandering out into the desert.
Right. So that's pretty much, I mean, it actually starts off in the end. So this is one of those movies that it gives you the end first, and it's like, hey, I guess you're wondering how I got here. Let's start from the beginning.
But then it never says, like, a week ago or, like, 25 days ago.
No,
it just kind of happens. So it shows this guy, he's found in the desert, right?
No, hold on. Before we get into our usual, breaking down of the film, I'll let you guys go first because, you know, I'm the one who brought this one up. But what did you guys think of the film? Don't everyone go at once. Like, don't jump off.
Will, I'll let you take this one, Will.
Thanks. Thank you. I can't stop laughing. This was an experience. I will say that it is a thing to behold. I believe that we're going to get into some reviews that Chuck is going to read in a couple of minutes that are mind-boggling to me. Everything about this movie is bad. The acting is bad. The set pieces are bad. The stage is bad. The
story is bad.
The story is horrible. Even the way that they try to use like camera tricks to make you think things are happening that aren't happening, and it's absolutely ridiculous. There's actually a scene where an animal reaches out for a piece of meat, and it's clearly like a doll paw or a mimic paw that reaches out for the meat. It's something that you would see on like a joke video on YouTube or something like that, with some guy in his basement. This is what it feels like. And I'm not making this up. There's another scene in this, and I'm getting away. There's another scene in this movie where he's looking over a cliff and he sees people gathered around, Egyptian monuments. They are supposed to be gigantic. They are about 1,000 sizes too small, clearly styrofoam, clearly just to be, what are we doing? What is this? Wow. And we'll get into the acting of this main character when he's finally alone. Whoa, baby. This is, yeah. That's my thoughts. I never want to talk about this movie again. I never wanted that. I was the idiot when Chuck was describing this movie when he said don't watch it, and I was the idiot that said, yep, I gotta find it, and I did, and I watched it, and I
immediately we can hear you typing,
and I regret this. This was not one of my wiser decisions. So this was oh man.
So thinking about this,
how did this make you feel? Primarily about your cat.
So I have a cat. Will has many cats, and the fact that he's not irked out right now kind of freaks me out. But I felt awkward just petting my cat for a moment after watching this. Like, the movie was over, and my cat's over there trying to get food from me, and I'm like, can you please just go away?
Wow.
Like, I'll feed you. You just stay over there. Yeah. So it's strange. You watched this movie. I mean, anybody who's just watched, like, hearing this and hasn't seen the movie can kind of guess what's going on here. But we will say you don't need to watch this movie. Just listen to our conversation and move on. You don't need to
watch this movie.
No, go a little bit further than that. Please do not watch this movie. Listen to this review, and that's it. Like, do not do what Will did. Learn from his mistake. Do not go back and search for this film. Do not rent this film. Do not buy this film. Do not even stream it for free if you can find it for free.
See,
do
and
not
this is what
waste
I have a
your
problem
time
with. You're selling this movie as it cannot be this bad, and it makes people intrigued to see it. This is why I had to. You oversold how bad this movie was. If you had just said, you know what, don't watch this movie, and you had moved on, I would have never even bothered. But the fact that you oversell this the way that you do makes it intriguing.
So here's the thing. As I'm not overselling it, you don't want to ever talk about this again. That's how bad this movie is. We have talked profusely about bad movies over and over and over and over again. You've never once said, I am never discussing this movie ever again until this film.
You're right.
This film is bad in every way possible.
Every way.
Bad acting, bad story. The fact that I watched it once 20-something years ago, 25, I was 17 when I first watched it.
And you're still traumatized.
I am to this day. And the most traumatizing, see, I feel bad for myself because I brought it up in the conversation about, we were talking about bad movies. and I brought this up, and then we're like, let's do it as a review. And the part for me is I had to go back and rewatch the film again, and I'm sitting there going, why? Why? Like, what am I doing? Like, why? This movie is just bad in every possible way.
It's not great.
I'm gonna tell you that this movie came out the same year as Batman and Robin. Oh man, Steel with Shaq.
Oh no.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Yep. So
This
Batman
movie
and Robin,
is worse
Steel,
than both of those.
Yes.
The Pest.
That was a funny movie.
The Pest.
That's a great
Okay.
movie.
Your favorite Titanic.
Ooh.
But I'm gonna say that this movie, I'm surprised it's not more popular because of how bad those movies were. Somehow, like honestly, I would put this movie as bad as Batman and Robin.
I put it worse.
Way worse
I know you
than
would-
Batman and Robin.
If I had a choice
Right.
between this and Batman and Robin, I would watch Batman and Robin.
To me, they're both just so bad that
Batman and Robin is no. You'll never ever hear me defend Batman and Robin again. But Batman
This
and
is the
Robin is
exception. This is the
Batman
exception.
and exactly Batman and Robin is leaps and bounds ahead of this movie. Leaps and bounds ahead of this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, even when you're
Yep.
looking at 1997, you also had Men in Black, you had Good Will Hunting, you had The Fifth Element,
Right.
you had Contact. So it wasn't. 1997 wasn't a complete loss for film.
No, I mean we had Austin Powers, the first one, which was a fantastic satire when it first came out.
Liar, Liar,
It was.
Liar, Liar, amazing.
Face Off.
Yeah, I mean there
Con
were
Air.
tons.
Yeah,
Lost World, Jurassic Park,
97 was a
Yeah.
great year. LA
It was.
Confidential.
Starship Troopers.
Starship Troopers.
You had to say that.
I did.
You know what else I'm looking at that came out in 97 that Lee and I watched one night? Copland.
Which one? Oh, Copland. Yeah.
Copland. Oh my gosh. I haven't seen that film in forever.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
the worst Stallone movie I've ever seen.
Mhm.
It's so bad.
Yeah.
You were
Yeah.
like all about it though.
I was?
Yeah.
No, you're right. That's
This was
incorrect.
during this. I'm wrong. This was during
No,
like
you're wrong.
COVID when we were getting together like via Skype or whatever, watching
Yeah.
movies. And and you were like, "Hey,
I don't-
let's watch Copland."
I don't remember that. I'll put it that way. I don't recall that.
Of course not.
I'm pretty sure I fell asleep.
You didn't fall asleep.
I don't recall the movie.
Okay.
I'll tell you that.
Okay.
Which movie was this again?
Copland.
Copland.
That was a
Forgettable movie. But then again, you had Face Off come out that year. Anyway, I mean, we can go on forever about what movies came out the same year, but the thing is, I think we're just trying to avoid talking about Passion in the Desert.
Okay, so here's the thing. I'm going to start off. I'm going to read a few snippets from some reviews.
Yes, please do.
So I'm going to read some titles first. I'm not going to because they're longer. The first one is An Unforgettable Journey, and let me tell you, this movie is definitely unforgettable. It will
yes.
remain with you forever.
This is an unforgettable journey. Whoever wrote that review is absolutely right.
The next one is sensational. They gave it a 9 out of 10. The first one gave it a 10 out of 10. This one was a 9 out of 10. It was sensational. I don't understand how. The next one is a 10 out of 10. Never thought they could make such a decent movie of this, make a decent movie of this story. And they're like praising this film. One person says it was they were mesmerized by it. One called it a beautiful. These are all like great reviews. What is true passion? A desire to survive. Here's my favorite one. It's a bad ending. This movie could have been immensely more successful if it was not for the ending, which made it lousy. The ending made this movie lousy to this person. I think the producers are stupid for creating a movie with such good scenery and such a waste and waste it all with the ending.
Okay.
How this Worth viewing, 8 out of 10. A mesmerizing film that certainly keeps your attention.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
It's the wrong attention. Okay.
Ben Daniels is fascinating and courageous to watch. I don't believe anybody who says these things about this movie.
Oh man.
Passion in the Desert is a brave folly of a film, easy to laugh at, but deserving of a certain respect, if only because it involves such a foolish and difficult story. For most of its length, it's about a man and a leopard who seem to fall in love with one another, if leopards could be said to fall in love, as they gaze happily into each other's eyes. We agree they make a handsome couple. But what exactly is the filmmaker trying to say? Roger Ebert.
Oh my.
Are you serious? Are you serious?
Yeah.
Ebert did a review on this movie.
Yes.
How did this movie? I'm guessing his
think
counterpart.
he gave it-
No, this is the movie that killed Siskel.
He gave it 2 stars.
Of course he did. I'd give this movie. He gave this movie 1 more star than I would have given it.
Oh my god.
man.
I cannot believe Ebert did a review on this movie.
and I just read the first couple of sentences. He did a full write up on this thing.
Yeah.
Can you put that in our keep? Because I want to see that.
Absolutely.
Like, I need to. That's
Absolutely.
hilarious. So let's try to get our way through that.
I just want to start it and just get it done.
All right,
Go.
Lee,
All right,
go
so,
for it.
So the thing about this is one of many stories written by I'm gonna butcher this because I don't speak French or read French, but Honoré de Balzac. This guy has written a ton of things, and tons of movies have been based off of his writing. So I'm not surprised that this story could have been written a certain way, and yeah, I'm sure if it was just something you read about, it wouldn't have been what we got on screen. So, and it might have been like an interesting story, learning how to, survive and develop in some type of kinship with an animal.
I could see this being a
if-
halfway decent book. I agree with you.
Right. But this movie is not.
Nope.
So we got this character. Basically, this dude is just found in the desert. He's wearing like his military uniform, but he's pretty banged up. He looks pretty bad. He's bloody. His arms all ripped up and stuff like that. And then someone finds him, throws him on a camel, they start dragging him out into this nearby village. They're in Egypt, and they basically clean him up, amputate his arm
With an axe.
Was it an axe? It was like a
Or
hatchet.
so-
Yeah, it was
a hatchet,
something.
or something like
It was
that.
like a meat cleaver. So basically, they cut off the arm. We see blood on the wall.
Oh no, it is
Nice
not
shot.
blood. It is
No, it's
ketchup.
like-
it's
it's
full
like red
on
syrup, yeah.
ketchup.
It is thick ketchup.
I love how it splatters twice, and you're just like,
Wait.
it's horrible. It's horrible.
Yep. But I mean, if you're trying to make a film and you're keeping your effects practical and simple, that's a great way to do it. Cut away, show blood on the wall. I mean, I've used that idea. That's a method that I've used for some of the projects that I've done in the past. I'm like, this is great. It's a great way to show it without actually having to show it, but you get the idea.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy's acting while he's getting his arm cut off was something to behold.
What was it when we were watching? Was it The Chosen? Oh.
Yeah, this guy has a stick in his mouth, and that's it. And you see his legs twitching, and he goes, "Ow, ow!" And then he just stops.
I love
No,
how
I'm thinking. You remember that episode of The Chosen where the guy was getting crucified?
Yeah.
And you just ripped on that for like 10, 15 straight minutes. The guy's just going,
He was having nails driven. This guy's on the side of the road, having his ankles and his wrists impaled with nails, being nailed to a piece of wood. He's just going, "Ow, ow!"
That's
No,
ridiculous.
no.
I do love, however, how they're in the cave, right? And another guy walks in, and you think like the bottle of alcohol is for like the wound, but it's not. It's for the guy who's getting ready to hack the guy's arm up. He just takes a swig of it and hands it back to him. Doesn't even pour it on the wound. He needs the drink. I love it.
I think I missed that part because I thought that's exactly what they were going to do, but you're right. They didn't do that at all.
I thought they were going to do. They come in with the bottle, and I'm thinking, oh, they're going to actually, pour the liquor on the wound.
I thought they were going to give him some of the liquor to help like numb a little bit as well. Like, here, take the edge off.
The guy doing the hacking is the one that needs the drink.
What is that? That's like in, oh man, was it Little Shop of Horrors where Steve Martin, the dentist, would take the laughing gas himself because it was more fun for him to operate on people when he was all messed up.
Yeah.
So he's like, hey, get me some gas. Okay. And start like attacking people. You guys have seen Little Shop of Horrors, right? Will, you've seen it, obviously.
What you're talking about.
You've never seen Little Shop of Horrors? Okay.
Somebody feed me.
So the movie itself is a musical. However, just for certain parts, I would say if you ever look up Bill Murray, Little Shop of Horrors, you will laugh your butt off because it's a very different character. No, Bill Murray. Little Shop of Horrors. Bill Murray's part in Little Shop of Horrors is the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Oh, when he goes to the dentist?
When he goes to the dentist.
Yes,
So
that's hilarious.
Steve Martin is like this sadistic, like he just likes to torture people, so he became a dentist. Like he was like a bully when he was younger, and he would like burn ants and stuff like that and take out squirrels with a BB gun. But now he grew up so he could be a dentist and can torture people and get all that out of him. So, but then you've got Bill Murray who comes in, who's obsessed with being tortured. He loves it. So he goes in there, and Steve Martin's doing everything in the book to try to hurt him. And Bill Murray's like, "Oh yes!" Like basically when Harry met Sally.
Candy bar! I want a candy bar!
Oh yeah, you are something special. Like you need to see it. It's definitely, even if you don't like Bill Murray, it's one of the most ridiculous things he's ever done. Anyway,
it's worth the watch.
I am talking about everything but this movie, but I really just want to get it over and done with. Okay, Band-Aid, rip it off. All right, so we find out it's 1798. All right. Napoleon's struggling army pursues the Mameluke, whatever, warriors deep into the Egyptian desert. One officer and so that's basically what they're explaining there. One officer is escorting an artist. This officer is our main character, Augustin. He's escorting this artist that Napoleon is pretty fond of, and he keeps making these comments like, "Oh, you can't get lost in Egypt. There's a Nile, and then there's the sea." So
sure,
whatever. He meets up with his army, and the whole point is like basically escort this guy, make sure he's safe so we can get back to Napoleon, whatever, but stick along with the army, and try to if you can. But he was charged at taking care of this dude. And this dude's eccentric, and people are kind of ripping on him because he dresses like the enemy and stuff like that, and he's living out there and doing whatever. But the whole thing, at one point he's sketching the Sphinx. Now, to your point, Will, the Sphinx is not the Sphinx; it's a Sphinx. Sure. Sphinx is a general thing. They weren't at like the main one missing the nose.
Sure,
that they were at one. So I understood that it was a smaller one, not a massive one. But the whole point here is he's sketching it, and he's all like, "Oh," and Augustin's up there measuring it for him so we can get like specifics, to sketch it. And then the soldier is just like, this is dumb. Goes ahead and lights a cannon and blows the chin off of the thing.
Blows the face off.
His face
came off.
And so the artist is pissed. He's like freaking out. And he's like, "Why would you do this? They hate beauty." And he's like, "No, it's old. It was built by slaves for aristocrats like yourself. So basically, like, yeah, I don't care about you. Stop being dumb. This is a stupid, ugly thing. Can we just keep moving on here? Why do we have to babysit this artist type thing?" Okay, I get it. They're all hanging out by a fire, and then you've got these hyenas laughing in the wilderness, which was kind of cool. They're all kind of freaking out. The laughing is getting louder and louder. And then, so this artist dude, we'll call him Venture, he's going off on how, it's the jinns of the desert. Oh, jinns, great. This is coming back up again. We got jinns again. And he's talking about how...
I'm sorry. One of these hyenas was so loud, I am convinced it was right next to the boom mic on stage. 100%. Like it should have been like the guy who's sitting there
freaking out.
Not even freaking out, just kind of looking around. Like it would be right next to him if it was like that.
It got really loud at the end. Yeah,
it was obnoxiously loud.
Oh yeah, ridiculous.
You have to remember, this movie was not done well by
I'm not
any
saying
means.
that it was done well. I'm not saying that at all. I'm painting the picture for what we're about to get into.
So I'll say this: the director, Lavinia Currier. There's only 2 movies that are up on IMDb that actually have pictures. One is Passion in the Desert. The second one is called Oka.
Oka.
Let's not watch that movie. let's say it's in the same pathway as this movie and just not watch it. Let's avoid that one altogether.
Yeah. So, they're hanging out there. The guy's talking about the jinns and what they can appear as. They could be like flying snakes or giant birds. And he's basically saying, well, you shot that sphinx, so you probably pissed off the jinns. So good job, guys. And then, one dude's kind of like, okay, well, there's stuff out here that's pretty creepy. They all go to sleep, no big deal. They wake up the next day, and the dude's sketching stuff, right? And he sees the enemies coming over the hill, so he freaks out. They all get into a war. Everybody dies, basically. A whole bunch of people die. We'll say like a good third of the army is like dead. So one soldier who's kind of like the jerk. There's always that one like macho jerk soldier who's the one who blew up the stuff already. Mm-hmm. He's like digging through a body that's not even dead yet, trying to get his shot back.
Yep.
And the dude's like, he's not dead, and he's like, oh, doesn't say anything, just takes out his knife and stabs him, and then continues to go ahead and take the shot back out. Okay. Then you got this artist who at this point you're realizing, I understand that he's an artist, but and artists generally are a bit eccentric. This dude's taking the blood off a head of a dead boy and rubbing it onto his canvas to make
using
like the sun.
Yep.
So we're like, okay, and he's doing it kind of just like up, like it looked like a 2-year-old playing with, a yogurt they spilled on the floor. And
he might as well be. He might as well be a
2-year-old.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Oh yeah,
but he might as well be a 2-year-old. I mean, you
full
say
on Miss Lippies later on.
you say that these soldiers or whatever are tasked with babysitting him, and why? We find out why he needs to be babysat.
Why? So he's doing this. Basically, as he's sitting there doing his drawing, the army is leaving, and Augustine's like, dude, we gotta get going. Like, come on, we gotta move. And he's like, oh no, I still gotta paint this. He goes, we have to stick with the army. Look what just happened. We can't survive by ourselves. We need the army to survive. So he's like, yeah, whatever. So they go to try to catch up, but the problem is the sandstorms. Anakin's favorite, sand. Is all over the place. It's everywhere. It's rough. It's coarse. And they can't even see the army anymore. And this is where things take a turn.
For the better or for the worst?
For the worst.
It's all downhill from here.
It's all downhill from the opening credits.
The most interesting and enjoyable part of this movie, which is a very low bar, is over.
Yes.
Nothing else.
It is. And it was funny, as I'm watching
is...
everything up to this point, I was like, this movie's not too bad.
No.
Like, I understand what's going on.
It's not too bad.
But the thing is, I knew where it was going, so I'm kind of like, how are they going to go from this to... Oh, they just straight up do it, don't they? They just went ahead and did it.
Oh, yeah, they just jump right into it. They don't waste time.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like somebody else directed the beginning of this movie, and then someone's like, you're not paying me enough, and they move, and then, so Lavinia here just went ahead and took over, and they didn't credit the first guy. I don't know, but... Here we are. So they took too long, they got lost, and then the dude starts talking about what's going on with the wind. He goes, Simoon, it's the breath of the desert. Okay, so we get the desert spirit, the breath of the desert is called Simoon. That'll come up later.
Yes.
So... Oh, jeez.
Yes.
So they're starving, and the dude's sitting there painting, and he starts playing with the lizard. He's like, boop, 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 boop. With like painting on it, like it's a goof. And as that's happening, Augustine runs over there and tries to grab the lizard. He's like, dude, we're starving. What's the matter with you? You're sitting there playing with the lizard? Eat him. He misses it. It runs off. And then the dude's sitting there. We see him later on as they're going through the desert. riding on their horses, and he's like sneaking sips of paint.
Yeah.
He's sneaking sips of his paint, and then when he's like, "Oh, I'm all out of water," he gets some more from Augustine, which he pours into his paint.
Yep.
Doesn't drink it.
Nope.
Doesn't drink the water.
Nope.
Doesn't put it into his own empty bottle.
Nope.
I mean, that would even make more sense. No, he pours it in all of his paints.
Yep.
At one point now, so here's the thing. I'll tell you how I watched this movie. First night I watched it, I said, this is going to be rough. Poured a drink, sat down, and watched it. Pretty much intently. Trying to... So, listen, when I went and saw that Nightmare on Elm Street remake that they did, with what's-his-face there, Rorschach, I went into it saying, I'm going to really watch this movie, and I'm going to take notes. Because I want to write a horrible review tomorrow on Rotten Tomatoes after I've seen this movie. So I went into it saying, here's my mission, I'm going to do this. And that's basically what I did here. I'm like, no distractions, nothing else. I'm not going to like check my text messages, like everybody leave me alone. I'm going to sit here and just pay attention to this movie.
I have to say something now. You do things so backwards sometimes. If it's a good movie or a halfway decent movie, you'll watch it in chunks and segments. When it's something that's horribly awful and you know it's going to be bad, you sit and intently watch it.
It depends on the season I'm in. No. Look, this is... If it's a good movie and I have the time, sure. But
Okay.
sometimes we have some really busy seasons, but... I've been making it a point to take time to watch these lately. It's been working out.
I understand.
Because sometimes we're doing like other shows.
I'm just
we've got our
putting
own
it out,
conversation.
I'm
We
just
got our
putting
movies.
it
We
out
got
there
our
for
show.
context, because normally when we do these reviews for movies, you're the one who goes, "Oh, I had to watch this in chunks. I did this, and that, and everything else." This is the first time on this podcast I've heard you say, "I watched this movie intently."
Lately,
That's how important this film is.
Because we're not dropping 2 to 3 episodes a week right now, I've had more time.
Okay.
So that's kind of where I've been at.
Okay.
Right now we're doing 1 to 2 episodes a week.
Just think it's funny.
Okay. So I sat and watched this and I'm like, okay, the next time I did notes, I was like, skip 30 seconds, skip 30 seconds, take a note, skip 30 seconds, skip 30 seconds, take a note. Just because I did not have to see what I didn't have to see.
Wait a minute. You may have, but only watching it once, on the second time, you may have missed stuff.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. So that's what I'm saying here. So there was something I did miss, is I forgot when exactly he put eyeliner on him again. The painter starts adding eyeliner.
The fact that he even lets this happen, like our soldier hero of the movie allows this artist to put eyeliner on him.
Okay,
no,
wait,
first
wait,
of all,
wait,
he had eyeliner on before in the first place.
No, wait. Why are you Why are you confused by that when this guy does so much more in this movie? Because you're confused as to why he allows him to put eyeliner on his eyes?
I am talking about like your first run through. Like that's the experience that I try to give off when I talk about these things. So when I see him sitting there and it's just like this artist who was drinking paint wants to put eyeliner on me and he just lets it happen.
No, let's go back to this. He's a French officer. All right, he already had eyeliner on in the first place. It just wore off. So he's sitting there. He's like, oh, your eyeliner came off. He goes, oh, put some more on me then. He's trying to keep up his thing. But that's what happened here. That's why. It's not like he was just like, hey, you mind if I put some eyeliner? Like, oh, that's a little odd. I guess so, sure. That's not what happened. It was like, hey, your eyeliner's off. He probably said, artist.
With this movie, it would have made sense. I'm just saying.
Okay, you know what? I stand corrected. I must have missed the part where he was supposed to have eyeliner on. So the fact remains, he didn't put the eyeliner on himself. He let the guy drinking paint put eyeliner on him.
Did he have a mirror on hand?
Doesn't matter. It does not matter. This guy was just drinking paint. There's blue on his face, and you're letting him put eyeliner on you.
I'm not sure how much blue was on his face at this point. It wasn't super obvious.
It was
on his beard.
It was on his beard. There was some blue going on his face when this happens. It was like
just a wee bit.
Whoa.
This is when he gets upset and he's like, "You're drinking your paint."
No. We'll get there. Yeah, this is when Yeah, no, okay. He does get pissed at him. But yeah, okay, you're right.
A guy comes up. Okay, you're supposed to have some kind of makeup on. A guy comes up to you with blue on his face. He's been drinking paint like a 2-year-old, and he says, "Come here," and he has the eyeliner getting ready. Are you letting him touch you?
This is the best podcast ever.
I would not let him touch me. I don't care. I don't care.
Would you
that
give
he
a
was
man
supposed
a
to
foot massage?
Would you give a guy a foot massage? This is the dumbest thing in the world. Like, you're a soldier and you're supposed to be like surviving and like looking for water and food, but you're letting the guy with blue paint on his face put eyeliner on you.
Yeah.
Yep.
What? This movie is amazing.
So it's basically a slow montage of them lost in the desert, right? So we see this progression. We see this progression of him getting more and more annoyed with the artist, with Ventura here. So they get to a tree, and he's like, "Oh, look, it's a tree." And then he repeats 5 times, "I've never been here before. I've never been here before.
Well, that's because
I've never been here before." As he goes around in circles around the tree.
That's because the artist says, "Oh, we went in a circle. We've been here before." And he pulls out his sketchbook and he shows him, I drew the tree. And the French soldier freaks out. "I've never been here before. He can't believe that he's lost."
Right.
He cannot fathom that
you can't get lost in Egypt.
You can't get lost in Egypt.
There's a Nile and there's a sea.
Because there's not another 1,000 square miles of desert ahead of you, sir. There's a Nile and the sea.
And everything in between.
Right?
That's ridiculous.
Cannot fathom that he's lost and just has a complete mental breakdown. Like,
so I have a few questions about this film.
you do. Pray tell.
I have a ton of questions about this film. First, I want to know what was going on in the head of the story writer of this film, person who
Balzac
wrote not the author of the book, the person who wrote the story for the film, like what was going on in their mind. Second, the director, like what was he thinking? And then third, the actor, like to be an actor and to agree to act in a movie like this, you have to be desperate.
So, Lavinia Courier was a screenplay and the director. Okay, so Ben Daniels just needed the money.
Yeah, and just put this in perspective, this movie only grossed $250,000.
That's way too much.
Worldwide.
That's way too much.
And that's still too much money.
How much did they pay to make it?
Too many people saw
like
this
$1.
$1.
No.
$1.
At least a couple thousand.
Maybe, yeah. They paid the actor $500.
So just the top the top tags that come with this is male nudity, male frontal nudity, rescued by an animal, hunt, and French. Those are the first few tags that come up with this movie. I don't recall there being like full on male frontal nudity. Like it was there for like to a point where you didn't even.
He's standing up, putting his jacket on.
He stands up to put his jacket on and full on.
Oh, well, I totally missed that part. Anyway,
flaccid.
I totally missed that
penis,
part.
Like right there, and that's when I stopped.
Thank you,
and
Lord,
I was like,
for your grace.
Is this PG-13? Like that wowed me.
Yeah,
that one wowed me. I was like, okay.
That's what I said. And
you could do a lot of things in indie films, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
Somehow this is 6.4 out of 10 on IMDb. Blows my mind. But anyway, Augustine here looks at the painter after he like recomposes himself and says, "You hang out here. I'll come back for you." That's usually a sign that you're not going to see this person ever again.
I found something.
Okay.
And it's cited, so I'm inclined to believe what I'm reading. The filmmaker, what's her name?
Yes.
Lavina Courier?
Lavinia, yeah.
Lavinia Courier invested $5 million of her own money in addition to writing and producing this film.
Oh, no.
She lost $1
million of her own money.
Lavinia Courier is now living in a cardboard box next to a van down by the river.
Wow, she just lost just lost $4.75 million on this film.
Jeez.
Oh my.
Because it only grossed.
I almost feel bad making fun of this movie now. That poor woman.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy.
I don't feel bad.
Well.
Like, not even a little bit. See,
Yeah,
the thing is I was introduced to this movie blindly. You guys both had an idea of what this movie was about.
Yeah.
I legit watched this movie going into it blind, thinking it was going to be a great film. And
thanks, Mom.
yeah, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't.
All right, so keep going. Yeah, gross U.S.
dear.
and Canada, 250,897.
Yeah.
Gross worldwide, 250,897.
Oh,
so
man,
if you're reading
that's-
if you're reading that from the Wikipedia article, if you scroll down to production,
I'm on IMDb.
Okay, never mind. There's a wiki.
Yeah.
There's a wiki right about it. And normally I don't unless it's cited on Wikipedia, I tend not to believe it. But this portion of the paragraph is cited, and I already clicked on the link, and I was like, wow, okay, that's $5 million of her own money.
That's horrible.
That is horrible.
Wow. Anyway,
so we're at this tree, and things get
so we're at the
interesting.
tree. I'll come back for you. He leaves, and the dude's like, "I'll do some painting," and then he goes, "No, I'll just eat my paint." Yeah, that makes more sense.
Opens his
So then he goes on this full on, like, he starts off just eating it, then he goes on this full on paint drinking binge.
Yep.
Like, and just loses it.
Yep.
To the point where you think he's just gonna die right there from drinking paint.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't. So we cut back over to Augustine, whose horse is just not having it. He's thirsty, he's hungry, he's dying, so he pulls out a gun to shoot it. And at the exact same time, we've got Ventura here, who's also lost it to the point where he pulls out his gun, and at the same time, Augustine shoots the horse, and Ventura shoots himself in the head. Okay, well, that was a waste of water. So poor Augustine over here dying of thirst, and he drank a bunch of paint and then shot himself anyway. So
he
Great.
begins thinking, I don't know what's happening while he's consuming these paints, but he's either is he imagining that he's at a table surrounded by people because he's toasting to nobody?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, he's lost his mind.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yep. It's gone. It's
Okay.
gone.
Yeah. And then he starts like opening his little glass bottles, and he's drinking his paint, and he drinks the red paint. And then he's like just so happy and elated. And he just like rears back and opens his mouth, and it's all red and blue and green and all types of different colors. And he's having the time of his life.
He's lost it. He is absolutely at this point completely insane. That's it. So
Yeah.
So that's the end of him. That's the end of the horse.
That's yep.
And
And our
Augustine
soldier
is now
Augusta is on foot.
he's on foot, falls asleep, has this dream that he's by a pool of water and he hears laughing. A woman's laughter, specifically. Wakes up and goes, "Wait!" And then just runs aimlessly. Okay.
Yeah.
Now it's morning and he finds a little tent village, right?
Uh-huh.
Finds a tent, runs in there, no one's to be found.
Nope.
And he sees a bladder of water hanging from the main tent pole.
Yep.
Which he cuts it open and the water's coming out. And I'm watching this like, oh man, that must be amazing. Like that just looked like really good water. You know, he is having a blast right now. he's drinking it, but yet even though he has it right in front of him and it's all pouring out, he keeps trying to rip it off the pole. It's like, just sit there and take what you got. You're not gonna, like, it's all spilling out anyway. What are you doing? Like, he kept on ripping and ripping and ripping.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, he knocks it down. Doesn't knock the tent over, but then he lands at the feet of a woman, and she's got face jewelry all over her and everything. And he gets up and he goes, "Don't cast me. I'm French." Okay. And he explains over again, like, "I'm not your enemy. I'm your friend." So they kind of study each other for a bit. She studies him, and he goes, "Yeah, I've got blue eyes like the sky." You know, like, he's... But this is his enemy, correct? Like, these are the bad guys, but for some reason he's trying to pretend that they're not, I guess. I don't know who the bad guys are. I don't know what's going on in this war and who's who. They're out in Egypt. I can't tell what's going on. That's the hardest part about this movie, is not knowing who's who and what's really going on. Nothing was very distinct. Even when there was
the hard part of this movie. Who cares? Who cares who the bad guy is in this movie?
I'm talking about how things...
This might be the hard part of the movie, but this is not the important part of the movie.
Oh, absolutely not. But the hard part of the movie that I'm getting into is at one point we see two leopards. Or there might have been multiple times we've seen more than one leopard, but we could never tell what was going on because of the way it was shot. So here, I'm like, who's this person? I don't know. Friend? Enemy? Either way, he's being weird. So they study each other, and he pulls off the face and the head covering. She pulls out her dagger and then tries to cut him, and he just grabs her by the hair and cuts off her hair and holds it to his face.
Why? Why does he cut her hair off?
I don't know. Was it some...
This made no
zero
sense. No sense at
was
all.
Was it a way of being like...
off? And not even cut her hair off and just immediately throw it, like, and go to try to grab her? No. He studies the lock of hair that he now has in his hands while she's calling for help.
Oh, you mean her telephone?
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
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 So basically, that's what we've got here. He bails, and then the whole village comes and they start to chase him on camels. But he had a head start, so they don't find him.
Nope.
Great.
They know where he went.
Yeah,
and
they do.
And they whatever their language word is for,
Jinn.
you know, the leopard that's out there.
Jinn.
Jinn?
No. They said the Jinn. No. Yeah.
Let the Jinn have him.
It wasn't about the leopards. They said, so he runs off and hides in the canyon.
I thought the Jinn was the leopard.
Well, it could be. That's the whole point. The Jinn could be shapeshifters. They don't know what it could be. But they said, let the Jinn have him, basically. But they go, he finds like this cave palace. Basically, like, why is this in the middle of a canyon somewhere? What was it? And why aren't there people out there? Well, I guess it's where the Jinn live.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Finds that, hides in there. They basically bail, say, we'll leave it to the Jinn for the night. We'll return for him in the morning. So he goes ahead, hides in a cave, and somehow becomes obsessed with the cave wall and starts licking and sucking it, and then saying, apricot eyes.
Yeah.
What?
Don't know.
What just happened? Was he just like, thank you, cave, for saving me? Let me lick you? Or was there some condensation on the rock and he's like, more water?
That's
just
what I
needed.
was trying to figure out. Is there
I watched
water
it twice.
Rock?
I was very confused. I was like, there's nothing there. Was it actually the underside of a leopard and he was sucking on the teat to get milk and he was just like, this is great. Like, what just happened?
Maybe,
I don't know.
Maybe it was just cool. Like the cool side of the pillow.
Sure.
Yeah, because I make out with the cool side of my pillow.
Well,
every night.
You know how you wake up during the summer and you're hot and you flip the pillow over and you're like, that feels so nice.
I never no.
Oh,
nope.
Okay. Never.
I just turned the AC up.
I know that feeling, but he just brought this part a little too far. That's all.
He brought it really far, but that's the point that I'm trying to get at. Is maybe it was just like it could be the same. He's outside. It's hot. He's sweating. He's probably burning up because he's running. He has all those clothes on. He finds a rock that's in the shade. It's really cool, and he just goes way over the top with it.
Yep.
So it's like the guy who lands on the. I'd say he lost his mind back at the tree. And at this point,
I don't know.
His mind is slipping further and further.
Oh yeah. Yes.
It just continues to go.
Yep.
So at this point, a leopard arrives in the moonlight. Is it one leopard or is it two leopards? So this is my concern. The way that it was shot, you couldn't tell what the heck was going on until you realized that the leopard basically leaves him alone and lays down. No, so my thought, the second time watching this, I was wondering, were there multiple leopards and this one basically stood next to him and said, leave him alone?
No, it was just one leopard.
It was just one leopard that befriends him.
They were just trying to be smart. They were trying to be artistically creative, and they just did a bad job with it.
They did a horrible job. The thing is, I couldn't tell what was going on. So, in the film industry, there's a rule called the 180 rule. You don't break the 180 degree turn, because once you do that, it loses all understanding of what you're looking at. So if you shot me on one side and then you shot me on the other side, but past 180, people would get confused. Is that the same person? What am I looking at here? It's a real thing. It's about perspective. And the way that they kept shooting these weird shadows and glances and over here and over there, and here's the butt of a leopard, and here's the paw of a leopard.
They were flip-flopping things.
It was all over the place, and I'm like, so that's why the second time around, I'm like, there's a chance that there are multiple leopards here, and this one stood the ground, keeping the others away from that. I was like, well, that would make more sense for him to start to question. But anyway, either way. So I think my understanding the first time is there's one leopard, I just kind of
assumed that this was their way of getting around shooting the leopard with the guy minus the leopard's handler, if there was one on set. Mm-hmm. That's why they had to cut around all these corners and why it looks so jarring. That's the only explanation I could come up with, because that happens a lot. So. Mm-hmm. There are parts where it's clearly not a leopard. It's clearly a stuffed animal hand that's maneuvering around. It's clearly, in one part, I was convinced it wasn't even a leopard. It was just a cat that was disguised. There were little things like that are going on that are that can be very confusing.
$5 million, huh? Oh man! Oh I know, my!
I know.
I cannot imagine. Cannot imagine that. So the leopard arrives in the moonlight, leaves him alone, and lays down. Okay, it was just really weirdly shot. So it left it open for me to go start guessing. Maybe this is where they're going. But anyway, the next morning. The next morning, she, the leopard, kills a dude that's coming to find our buddy Augustine here, and he tries to run away from her. He eats an acorn, which clearly doesn't taste very good because he spits it right back out. Then he goes and hides somewhere, and he gets really pissed that she won't get away from a pool of water because he really wants water, and she's just hanging by the pool, and he's up on top of a cliff nearby. So after a while, he gets so mad, he starts chucking rocks at her and go, get away. What's wrong with you? Get out of my way. I want to get some water. So she eventually leaves, and he just makes a beeline for it, drinking and rolling in the water, and then gets into a fetal position on the edge. Yep. And this is the point where you recognize the leopard recognized that he wanted the water, and said, oh, okay, he wants me out of the way because he doesn't trust me. Got it. So a relationship is clearly building here. And the army finds the dead artist. That's the only note that I have for that, because it goes nowhere.
Nope. Nowhere.
Not at all. They don't even say, oh, I wonder where Augustine is. Maybe we'll find him. No, so they just
I want to back up a little bit, and I want to read this paragraph under production. Filming took place in Jordan in the ruins of Petra. Okay, obviously you cannot pronounce that. The movie was filmed on April 1 to June 28th of 1995. Director invested $5 million US of her own money in addition to writing and producing the film. Currier used animals that were chosen at birth to be raised with enough human interaction, thereby making the process of filming scenes with these leopards much easier. Despite this, there were some close calls during the making of the movie where the main actor, Daniels, reportedly almost got bitten by the leopard. Prior to the filming, Daniels spent time out in the wilderness in the wide-eye room to develop a feel for the environment, something that would assist him in his acting.
So if this is method acting, I really want to know how far you went.
Well, I mean, he clearly did what he did in this movie.
Yes, he did.
There's not really any way around it.
Nope.
He did what he did. So the fact that they even bothered using stuffed animal hands, I don't understand why, because the dude...
It's obvious.
Let's continue on. Oh, boy. So, the dude, Augustine, here is chasing small creatures around for food, and the leopard catches a water buck. Ooh. So he's like, well, I'm not going to get that. So he goes and eats a cactus flower. He finds the water buck left behind and begins cutting it and eating it raw. The leopard then eventually approaches. He just sits there and continues eating because he's like, I'm going to die anyway. What's going to happen? Like, just go ahead and if I'm going to die, whatever. So he just continues to eat. Then he realizes that it was actually shared with him on purpose, and they continue to dine together.
They're bonding. They're bonding over a meal.
They are. I mean, that's a great way to bond, right?
I mean, they always say the way to a man's heart is through his stomach.
That's right, and there we go. So she knew what she was up to. So then we get this whole montage. Oh, go ahead, Chuck.
Go ahead, Chuck.
When you guys went on your first date,
are you talking about Will and I?
No, I mean, like when you guys dated anybody and you went on your first date. Were you hesitant to eat? Because he was.
That's very hard to ask. I mean, I'm thinking about my wife.
This is a very difficult. This is a very difficult comparison.
Yeah.
Well, this was his first date. I mean, obviously it was a blind date. He didn't know what he was getting himself into.
Yeah.
But hey. So.
Okay.
Feel free to continue.
Well, I mean, the thing here is his first date, they have to share the same meal. When you go out on a regular date, you have a plate, she has a plate, and
yeah, you generally don't share. I mean, you could share the appetizer.
Sure. But you're not both fighting for the same piece of steak.
I think we should. Maybe we should take a page from this movie. Maybe there's a reason we've seen this.
Let's never take a page from this movie. Ever. ever. From any perspective.
So we get this montage. They're friends now. Oh, they live, they eat, they play, and sleep together in the cave. It ends with him, as I put, Jeff Goldbluming and pushing sand around while he watches her longingly.
And the music is enticing, too.
Oh, absolutely.
The Middle Eastern music that they're using here to entice the feels that are going on is awful.
So I refer to Jeff Goldbluming as that scene where Jeff Goldblum, after he got attacked in Jurassic Park, is just sitting there like with his shirt open, like sideways laying there. Like it's a goofy, like this belongs in a soap opera, not in Jurassic Park. But yeah, That's what this dude is doing. He's laying down, kind of with his legs like crossed over on one arm, just hanging out, admiringly watching.
He's not hanging out yet. We'll get there.
But his nipples are. Anyway, so he's out there pushing sand around, and they have this great little shot where the sand just trickles down the edge of the rocks. Okay. So then he goes in this whole thing for like 10 minutes trying to name her. We need a name for you. I can't keep calling you Kat. Cleopatra? No, she had a sad ending. Jeanette? Louise Colette? Prettiest Wet. All of these things he kept doing. He's going through everything. Marie. She sang in the dark to me. Aisha. She danced the sword for me in Cairo.
He says Jeanette. And the leopard audibly roars in displeasure. And he says, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
They're communicating with each other.
Yes, they are.
Yep,
Uh-huh.
that's a thing. That's a thing in this movie.
Oh yeah.
Salome, my head on a tray. Sheba, etc. Keeps going. Dancing. Ah, you have a beauty spot. A few of them, actually. Ah, the soul of the wind. Simoon. Ah, okay. Now we get back to that. See? Little foreshadowing there. Simoon. Wonderful.
Sure.
Great. Uh-huh. So then he's... I hate you guys. So, my cat is right here. Just sitting here next to my feet.
So I want to share to everybody, after Will watched this movie, he came to me. Now, there's a reason why it's called Passion in the Desert. Passion is the operative word here. Will came, I told Will that in this movie,
honest. Be honest with
I
what
told
you
Will,
Be honest.
from my perspective, when I remember this before I had to watch it again, which I feel bad that Lee... I don't feel bad. I do feel bad. I don't know.
You don't feel
Lee
bad.
had to
you
pause
don't
this.
feel
and
bad. Come on, you don't feel bad.
Lee had to.
No, you-
I feel bad that Lee had to pause and write these things down, to get all the verbatims. I do feel bad about that.
I skipped as much as I could. I got the notes done in a half an hour.
Oh, I bet. So I tell the story that, okay, this is a story about this French legionnaire. He gets lost in the desert. He quote unquote befriends this leopard, and there's a scene where he's basically, it's a love scene between him and the leopard. And then Will's like, no. He watches the movie and he comes back, oh, it wasn't a love scene. He was just cleaning the leopard. I watched it again. No, he's not cleaning the leopard by any means.
I don't believe he called it a love scene. I believe he called it something else.
I don't care. He was having.
You said that it was implied that it went further.
He was.
You sold this as a love scene. Now, when you say
You sold
love,
this.
when
You
say
sold this as bestiality.
yes, you did.
That's what you
and
sold
I said this
as.
to you. Now, listen to me. When you say there's a love scene in this movie between a man and a leopard, when you say love
Okay.
scene in movie, that means one thing. That does not
Nope.
mean yes. It does.
I get.
No.
I get that. But how many
that means
movies? Oh, hold
one
on.
thing, sir. Okay, you
I
cannot.
get that, but how many PG-13 movies have you watched where the guy and the girl, a regular movie, mind you, a regular movie
Yeah.
where a guy and a girl, the movie's PG-13.
Yeah.
Name any PG-13 movie that has romance in it and a love scene. Their love scene is they come in, you see them kiss, they lay down.
I will tell
You
you,
see
that
you see some stuff, and then the next morning
Hang
they
on.
wake up and it is implied of what they did.
Yes.
I will stick,
This whole thing was implied.
I will stick to this year this movie came out and say Titanic. There is a foggy window and a handprint that comes down, and it is heavily implied that the two of them are in there making love. When you say love scene in a movie, it means one thing. You sold this as bestiality. There was none of that going on. He cleaned the leopard. Now,
He was not cleaning. He was kissing the leopard the way the leopard would kiss him. He was licking it. He was
No, the leopard was kissing him like this.
Yeah, but he starts off.
See?
I'm sorry. He starts off. He is rubbing every
Let me get through it, okay?
Hold on.
Hold on.
No. So he sees he looks at the nose of the leopard and he gently goes, he gently kisses it 3 or 4 times, and then he snuggles up and he's rubbing his hand all over this leopard, and then he just hugs it, and then starts licking it.
yes.
He's not
You
cleaning.
missed the part when he took her paw, pushed out the claws, rubbed it between his fingers, and then rubbed it on his face. Go ahead and touch my face. You missed that part. And she's licking, doing the little lick, and he just goes ahead and moves in, so the lick goes on him.
So you say love,
And-
and even when you say love scene, the reason why I'm not calling this a love scene is this isn't your typical PG-13 romantic movie where the camera pans away and all you see is the curtain blowing in the window.
No,
That's
but here's
not what's
what
happening here. He is fully, well, not fully, but he has clothes on and there is nothing going on below his belt.
Will, I have to correct you here, because after he's licking her neck and head, it pans over to the sunset.
And the music is saying everything. The music is saying
that is the hand on the window, the foggy hand on the window. It's the same thing.
And the music gets romantic and imagine being the band that had to play the music for this movie.
Well, it was actually.
I'm pretty sure they're all uncredited. Let's look at the music department here.
It's not uncredited. The guy's name is Jose Naito, and he's basically the composer for the entirety of the soundtrack for this movie.
Sure.
So no, but
I want my name all over this movie.
I wouldn't.
That's what I don't know. I'm being sarcastic.
The point that I'm trying to make is
I get the point you're trying to make is I was making it seem like you took it as I was making it and seem like they were actually having sex on film.
Because when you said this, I'm like, there's no way this takes place in a movie, in a mainstream PG-13 movie. This is impossible. And it didn't happen. It did not happen the way you were like.
Okay,
the way
it was 23 years ago for me. 25 years ago.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how long ago it was. When you originally told me about this movie and you got to this part, you were so disturbed that I was like, "There's no way he's remembering this right. I have to see this film." And when I watched I will.
Were you disturbed?
Can we meet in the middle and at least say that you over exaggerated?
Okay, I over exaggerated. If you're taking it from the aspect of I was saying that they actually had sex on film, then yes, I over exaggerated.
When you say love scene in a movie, that means one thing. But
here's the thing. Chuck implied something in the movie, implied the same thing,
but it did not happen.
I get that,
but the thing was, Chuck implied something, but he wasn't clean.
But he wasn't clean. To your words, quote unquote, cleaning. He wasn't cleaning or bathing the leopard.
It was affection.
Can we take what the movie's implying completely out of this conversation? Because we started this off with Lee thinking that the movie was implying there were multiple leopards going on. Can we take that out? Because
I'm agreeing with you.
We all agree that this movie has no idea what it wants to imply. None. No. Zero. This movie makes absolutely no sense. So let's just take that off the table.
No, I agree with you. If you took it as I was saying that there was an actual sex scene, like you would see in a rated R movie.
No, you're differentiating the difference between a sex scene and a love. There's no difference between a love scene and a sex scene. When you say love scene in a movie, you mean you're implying one thing.
No, because I'll use this for an example. We're going to be, as people may know, we do multiple recordings in one night.
Sure.
The next recording that we're going to do is for a movie called The Island. In that movie, there is a romantic scene that happens. It's a love scene. There is no actual sex that you see happening. It shows it shows the intimacy up front. There's
it's implied.
And then it's implied because it's PG-13.
Clothes are coming off.
Can you Can you name one movie where a love scene is implied but sex isn't?
No.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about. This was a love scene where sex was implied but
sex
not shown.
Sex is not implied here. This is not bestiality. You can't do that. He was sitting there.
No, and here's the thing.
Hold on. When this leopard, which we'll get there, when this leopard does actually have a sex scene with another leopard, right? He gets jealous of it.
He gets
because
jealous
it's cheating on him.
This is true.
But that is my point. However, my point further is he realizes he couldn't get to that point because he was not a leopard.
He cannot get there.
Therefore,
he can.
He was
not. Listen, if you want to say he wants this, I'll agree with you. He does not get that. It does not happen in the movie. He tries. No. He tries.
Okay, he tries. I'll give you that. He tries.
But he fails because he is not a leopard. This leopard wants absolutely...
Which is why we get what we get later. Let's just hurry up and finish this scene, please.
This
I want to be done with this movie.
This is the scene though. This is the reason
why we're doing this movie.
If it wasn't for the scene or any of this, like the next 15, 20 minutes to a half an hour
of your
this
description of this scene, I would have never watched this movie.
Okay, you know what? Are you as disturbed as I am right now?
No.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
This did not disturb me. I am not. Hang on. I am a very. My opinion on what's disturbing is very, very bad because I have a very, very high bar. A very high bar for what I will tolerate. It's very high. I'm not the norm. I would not recommend anybody get to that level like I am. There's not at all. I have a very high bar for what I will tolerate. Not many things disgust me or disturb me. This here, and maybe that's me, but this here, him laying down next to a leopard, cleaning it, weird.
He's not cleaning it.
He's cleaning it. He is licking and cleaning this thing.
Which is a sign of affection between cats.
Excuse me?
No, cats clean themselves, and cats clean other cats because they're dirty. But then he wasn't
as a sign of affection.
No, he wasn't giving the cat a bath.
Hang on, I have to side with Lee on that one. Cats do clean other cats as a sign of affection.
But they also clean other cats
because they're
without
dirty.
The sign of affection because they're dirty. Oh, put it down. Put it away. What I'm saying is he wasn't licking the leopard because he was trying to clean it. He was licking the leopard because he was falling for it.
Yes, I will agree with this, but that is not a love scene.
Okay. It's a love scene, not a sex scene. It's a love scene, not a sex scene.
I still wouldn't call it a love scene.
Oh my gosh, he's falling in love with the leopard.
Yes, he is, but this is not a
That's
love
the whole
scene.
I'll
point
be back
of
in
this.
10 minutes. You guys just keep going.
So ultimately, that is the whole point of this movie. That right there is the premise of this movie.
Listen, for 25 years, you've been waiting for this conversation.
All right. I'm going to ask you one question, and I'm going to leave it at that, and we'll shelf it, and I'm going to let Lee continue so we can get this over with. Does anything gratuitous happen in this scene?
No.
Does anything involving what's under his pants take place?
We don't see anything.
Come on. Does anything involving his...
No.
Thank you. Is he inappropriately touching this leopard in no places? The answer is no. Therefore,
maybe not. Maybe I think he was still inappropriately touching this leopard.
You can't do this. You don't pull Lee's card about maybe there's a deleted scene.
Not. No, I'm not. I said I think he still is inappropriately touching this leopard
by rubbing it.
Okay, let me. Okay, if you were in real life and you saw this in real life, would you say, "Oh, that's normal"?
No.
Okay.
I'm not saying that this is normal.
No, nobody thinks that the happenings in this movie at all are normal.
We all agree that this is not normal. We all agree that this is weird. The argument right now is whether or not this is a love scene. I would argue it's not. I just think it's really strange and odd. I wouldn't want to see it.
Now,
if I saw it, I would probably, call, animal services to have that taken care of. But if there's nothing sexual happening here, it is not a love scene. Nothing like that's happening.
I'm going to say this, though. Generally, I side with you, but I'm going to have to say something here that's a very valid point. Now, if you were to watch... let's just say a children's, more child targeted movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
That wouldn't have sex involved.
No.
Right? Let's just say it's like a Nickelodeon movie, right? And there's a scene in the movie where the two kids are talking, they're hanging out, they hold hands, and then they kind of like put their head on their shoulder.
Right.
In that movie, in the context of that movie, that would be considered the love scene of that movie. In that context, that is the love scene of the movie. So, to say it's not a love scene would be to throw out any other opportunity, any other thing. So I really think that here we're playing the semantic game, which is stupid and a waste of everybody's time. But the reality is, Chuck was disturbed from this movie 25 years ago, and this scene has been ingrained in his mind as the most disturbing thing he ever had to walk into in a movie, not knowing what was going to happen. And to him, this was a sex scene, basically, because of the implication. That is it. Whether or not we look at it now and see something differently because we went into it with expectations that it was, we like to argue and overanalyze, so we're going to argue with him. But the reality is, it's technically a love scene. It is a love scene, and that's all it really is. We have to just, like, shut up and accept that. Fair enough?
I agree to disagree.
Okay.
We can move on. I'm not moving from this.
Okay. All right. Take it to your grave.
I will.
So this kid's got a goat. Now we got a goat involved. Great. No, I will finish off where we're at, but basically the whole thing is he's rubbing the palm on his hand, the hand on his face. He starts licking the thing, and he's just having a great time, and he's probably thinking like, hey, this is like, you know, how you show affection, so I'm gonna go ahead and show affection. And honestly, I like it. Look, this thing's like saved my life and brought me food, so I'm just gonna go ahead and throw everything else I know to the wind.
There's one more point that I want to make. There's one more point that I want to make, and I'm done. I'm sorry if you're listening. I'm sorry. Listen, women who are dog people are incredibly affectionate with their dogs.
Not like this.
Not to this level, but close to it. There's a lot of cuddling going on. Have you ever met dog people who are incredibly close to their dogs? That cuddle with person. Do you cuddle with your dog?
No,
he wrestles with it.
Oh.
Not
when the dog's not wearing any clothes.
You wrestle with your dog.
Not in the way that Lee just portrayed it.
Okay, all right. Listen.
All I said was he wrestles with it. How did I portray it any other way?
Listen.
He wrestles with it.
Dog people.
No, I don't.
I brought up women. I brought up women because I've never known a guy who likes to cuddle with their dog, but I've known plenty of women who enjoy cuddling with their dogs. It happens. It's a normal thing. There's nothing wrong with that. I think it's a little weird, but there's nothing wrong with that.
No, there's not. But he's not just cuddling. He is face to face.
He's actually like...
He's face to face.
His neck. The leopard's neck.
Well, no. First he kisses its nose, like gently
they're face
caressing.
To face, and it's licking his face.
It's a gentle caress. Like it's a full like it's like when you see a love scene and you know the guy and the girl and they first kiss and it's that quick mwah, and then it's like another mwah, and then it turns into like a full on makeout scene. That's what this is.
Or you can talk about a movie like The Island where it goes backwards, but we'll get to that later.
Ay. Okay. So the scene ends with it. The scene ends with it panning off to the sunset. Yeah, that's pretty implied. Sorry, but it's pretty implied.
I don't think I said anything about a sunset. I think I said curtain in the wind or something.
That's fine. This was a sunset.
I know.
It pans off to the sunset.
I think Will is just trying to
it's basically saying, and then time passed, and things happened. But I don't think it went much further than that because of what he does later on to look more like a leopard.
It matters.
It doesn't matter.
The argument that you and I are having right now rivals what we did in Looper. Like, this is amazing. It's so stupid.
Luke, I'm so sorry you had to listen to this.
It's so stupid.
I say Luke because he's our one.
He's not our one. So
He's
here's
our
the
one
thing.
dedicated fan that's always listening.
So here's the thing. We watched we did a movie called They Live, and They Live was horribly written, it was horribly shot, and it was horribly produced. But it was a fantastic.
It was horribly acted.
And it was but the movie was fantastic.
The movie's awesome.
This movie was horribly written, horribly shot, horribly produced, horribly acted,
and the story is horrible.
and the whole thing is just horrible still. This is the worst movie I have ever seen.
Yes.
I'm sorry, going overboard still takes the cake for me.
No,
It wasn't even funny. Like it
don't
when it was
care.
trying to be
It
funny.
doesn't-
This is the worst movie I've ever seen.
I've seen some very bad films.
So have I. This is worse
And-
than Sharknado.
yes, it is.
Is this worse than Sharks of the Corn?
It's worse than any movie out there.
Oh, the Shark Side of the Moon. How about that one?
Can
The
we
mutated shark people.
can we move on and start
Anyway.
talking about the goat?
The kid has a goat, and he finds Augustine's hat. So Augustine's over there playing Mancala, I guess, with stones on the ground, waiting for Simoon to come join him. And then he's like, "What's going on over here?" So the kid sits there and he's like, "I don't know what's up with this hat."
Simoon's there playing with them, and he goes, "Now it's your turn." And
Yeah.
he plays for her,
Mhm.
and he plays his turn, then he plays her turn, and he's like, because she can't play because she's a leopard.
Oh,
You know.
really? She can. Okay, thanks for clarifying.
They should have just moved the stuffed paw into frame to move them.
That's what I imagined happening at this point. I mean, basically,
Wait. You imagined things happening in this movie as you watched it.
I'm starting to wonder now. Did Tom Hanks' character and Wilson have a scene like this?
No.
I mean, would they have a moment like this?
No, that
I mean,
was
how
a
long-
volleyball.
how long-
That
yeah,
was
how
a
long was he-
volleyball.
Yeah,
and
and
then
then out of
object.
nowhere, the thing was ripped open.
Because it was worn.
Why?
Because it was worn.
Oh, okay. Why was it worn? What wore it out? Just saying. Anyway, the kid's goat playing Mancala. The kid offers the goat milk.
Back up. He milks the goat into the hat.
Yes, he does. Yep.
He milks the goat into the hat.
Yeah, if you're a shepherd, then yeah, you know how to milk a goat.
I can
You
milk,
can
a cat.
Oh, jeez.
If there was no milking of the cat,
Little
is it
Geppetto.
truly a love scene?
That's different.
I just,
Will you say milking a cat is a love scene?
if there's no milking of the cat, is it truly a love scene?
No, that's
What does
different.
that even mean?
It's different. How do you milk a cat anyways?
You don't.
you just, just
No, stop. You just-
oh, my cat's just like, what are we doing? Are you gonna milk me? All right.
my God.
So
Yeah, so he milks
the
this
kid.
goat.
The kid the kid offers the goat milk in the hat as an offering. Basically, Jin, my goats are thirsty. Please give them water.
Yes.
Here. Like, so he
Have
leaves it
some
there,
milk.
and so Augustine comes down and he sees this hat full of milk, and he's like, "Who knows we're here? Well, whatever. Let's just drink it." So he's drinking it. Gives him to Simoon.
Hold on. Now, being a human, do you think he picked up the hat and like
Drank.
kind of used the rim as like a cup and like drank from the hat?
No,
No.
he didn't.
Oh, he didn't.
No.
How did he drink said milk out of the hat?
Well, considering he just spent like the night with a leopard licking it, I'm pretty sure he just leoparded the thing.
He just
So
licked it.
there's that.
He just
Laps the milk.
he just
Offers it to Simoon,
can't.
and then that's that they have some milk. So then at night he's inside with a flaming stick like a torch, right? And the kid comes through. The kid assumes he's a djinn and offers him the baby goat
Gives
and
him
then
the
just
hands of the goat
bails.
and runs away.
Just runs. And he starts laughing. He goes, he thinks we're jinns. All right, eat up. And they end up eating this goat. Okay. Then they go into this scene. Here's another love scene, in a sense, because they find a cave with all these drawings of man and beast living together in harmony. And his hand matches with the hand drawn on this cave that also shows a leopard jumping up. I mean, we've already seen them dance, right?
Oh, we missed that part. We completely
we
missed.
skipped that part, but they were dancing together when they were coming up with names.
This is the camera cut
literally
thing that
dancing.
This scene where they're dancing is the camera cut thing that confuses me. Because they're doing this back and forth shot between him and the leopard, but clearly, because the production value was not there, they're probably not even in the same room. And I'm convinced that like these were like 3 or 4 different animals that resembled leopard, because the face is different every time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it rains the next morning and Simoon runs off.
Bye.
Well, there you go. See you later. Finds a mate and Can You Feel the Love Tonight's with it. Basically, they're jumping around, they're frolicking, they're rolling around, they're playing with each other.
The leopard is leaving the cave, and he's pleading for it not to leave.
Mm-hmm.
And before it finally leaves, he just says, "Please." Like, the saddest please you've ever heard in your life.
And you see him like grab the leopard's tail as it walks away, and it, like slowly leaves his hand. He's just like he's sad. This is a sad moment of this film. Well, one of the sad moments.
The saddest moment of this movie is the movie.
It was an hour and a half of sad.
It was just a sad. It was a sad attempt at a movie.
So, Augustine comes up and sees the two of them
Frolicking.
feeling the love tonight, and the dude is jealous.
Yeah.
So he runs back to his little pool, starts using crushed rocks and water to paint his naked body.
Fully,
to different colors, completely naked, with different colors, and he uses charred wood for the black parts, for spots and stuff over his eyes. And at one point, he fights over food with the male leopard.
He hisses at it.
Yes, he goes full on. It's amazing the leopard didn't attack
He's
him.
full on prone, crawling around on hands and feet. Gets close to this leopard's kill. Well, no. I'm sorry. He kills the rabbit. Like there's a rabbit or a bunch, whatever, just hopping around, and he throws a rock at it and kills it.
Yep.
And the leopard comes out of nowhere, like no. And this is another scene where you have clearly a stuffed paw put its paw on top of this animal and pulls it a little bit towards, like, and Augusta hisses at this thing. The fact that this leopard does not immediately maul him baffles me.
Yeah, I like to think that he just, he learned the way of the beast all this time. He's so convincing. I mean, he's all painted up and everything. So he's just like, no, I'm still going to take this from you because you're clearly like a weakling. You're all hiss and no bite, but whatever.
One swat from this leopard, he's done. It's over.
So, yep. So he basically loses the meal and just sits there and sulks until nightfall. Which at this point he wakes up and goes back to the cave, right? And then gets up, goes back to the cave, and that's pretty much that.
Still naked, still painted.
Naked, still painted up. So he wakes up later on and hears the drumming of his army through the canyon. They're coming. Time to go home? All right. Simoon returns and the dude stops. Oh, yeah, okay. So he cleans himself up, starts getting ready, right? Simoon returns and the dude stops the soldier, that jerk guy who was like blowing stuff up with the cannon, stops the dude from shooting her.
Oh, boy.
And he looks at it, he goes, "Where have you been?"
He's so mad that this leopard's left.
He's so mad.
He's so mad. The leopard went off to be a leopard, and you're upset.
Yep. Yep. Where have you been? I've been up all night waiting for you. Where have you been?
Basically, like an angry wife.
I had to throw your dinner out.
Like an angry wife. Like, you were out all night drinking with your butt. Where have you been?
Well, he knows, though. He clearly knows he was there. But anyway, after
I mean, when you see the one you love cheating on you, how would you react?
So after this happens, the soldier who was about to attack her, he's not doing very well. He just gets up, he's all bloody, and he's messed up.
Oh, you missed it. You missed it then. You don't know what happened here.
He throws a rock at his head.
I said that.
Oh,
That's what I said.
Oh,
you guys jumped back into the explanation, but yeah,
okay.
he stops her from getting shot. He tosses a rock at the dude, like a huge stone at the dude, hits him right in the head. He gets up, bloody head and everything, and he's just looking around like, what? And just stumbles off.
He should have been dead.
He should have been dead, but somehow he's okay. This guy's got brain damage now. He's
probably
like, that's it. He's done.
Probably.
So we got Augustine. He runs back, cleans himself up completely in the pool, and starts getting fully dressed. Practices his formal drill stuff and whatnot, and sharpens his blades on a whetstone. Got it. Takes a bunch of grass, makes a rope, and like all this time is taken. Like he took a long time to do this, practice and everything, while they're going by. And as he's doing this, he says, "I forgive you." I had to rewind it 3 times to make sure I heard him say it right. He basically said to Simoon, but not directly, "I forgive you." And then it says, "I'll be back, wait for me here." And he ties her to a pillar of this cave. She can't escape from the rope. Basically, the way he tied it was every time you pull, it just gets tighter. She is pissed, freaking out, realizing that he left her there to basically die. And as he's there, he's like, "If I don't go to them, I'll be a deserter." And then they'll shoot him. A deserter. A deserter. Like he says it again. He just loves to repeat himself. She chokes herself trying to get out.
Even as he's walking away and she's choking herself out on this rope, he looks up and again says, "A deserter."
A deserter, yes. The rope finally snaps. She chases him down and attacks him.
Of course.
He starts choking her.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, that's a good way to do it. I mean, the first thing you would do if you're being attacked by something is to choke it out, remove its oxygen if you don't have a weapon in your hand. So he escapes, runs away again. She leaps to jump on him. He pulls out his blade. She lands directly on the blade. She's dead. And he rolls her off. Tongue out, dead eyes, full-on dead cat.
Full-on stuffed animal.
Basically.
It was a really good stuffed animal, though. If you've ever seen a dead cat, this was actually really spot on.
Yeah.
And it kind of triggered some stuff in me, I'll tell you. But yeah, I saw that and I was like, wow, they actually did a really good job with that. That's where $1 million went. Just to that, just to that stuffed cat.
$1 million stuffed animal.
$1 million stuffed dead cat. So he picks her up and carries her pretty much as far as he can, and he falls. And this is basically how it starts. It brings us right back to the beginning of the movie. Last thing we get is a quote from Balzac here. "She was white like the sands, tawny like the sands, solitary and burning like the sands." End credits. Thank the Lord. Now, I will tell you, this was the longest hour-and-a-half movie I've ever watched.
Oh, it's long. It's a long hour and a half.
Yes. And that's all, folks. That's this movie.
So
I could have gone off on a lot of things. The fact that you guys made me lead this conversation, I forgive you. Sure. I forgive you.
So,
There'll be a time.
I want to read some stuff from our text thread, because I was going this week to watch these two movies, this and the other movie we're doing, The Island. And I said, who is halfway through The Island? I was going to watch that, but now I have to watch Passion in the Desert. I am mad at whoever is still watching The Island.
And it was nobody.
And Will goes, well, on Plex, it showed that it was halfway watched. Will writes, you should still be able to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I already started Passion. Needed to rewatch anyways. I am asking myself why I even brought up this movie in the first place. Ha. And Will goes, because friends don't let friends suffer alone.
This is true.
Now, here's the thing. I would never have suggested this movie as doing it for our podcast had Will never gone and said, I'm going to go watch this movie.
This is not my fault. I know what you're trying to do here. This is not my fault.
I told you not to. I tried
Chuck
every
told me
which
about this
way.
movie years ago. Chuck told me about this experience.
I told you
And-
every which way to not watch this film. I'm not trying to sell it in a bad way that like manipulates you to watch it anyways, which is the way you're taking it. Like
I don't believe
I'm
you.
not like
I do not believe you.
Lee,
do you believe him when he says that?
No.
Here you go.
No.
I am 100% convinced that you at least subconsciously wanted us to watch this movie. I 100%
Do you think I
this.
wanted to go back and watch this film again?
No, I think you wanted to watch somebody else suffer so you could go, so you could just point and laugh at them. That's what I think happened. I think you wanted somebody else to watch this movie to join in your pain. I don't think you ever intended for it to be a podcast, but I 100% believe you wanted at least one of us to watch this movie. One, I don't. If you say anything other than that, I'm sorry. I don't believe you.
Oh, boy.
But it's over.
Oh,
we never
God.
have to talk about this movie again, or I'm sure we will reference it. But it's done. It's in the book. It's recorded. It's over.
Yeah.
Please make this
it's
our
over.
highest one. So on our title, you have to do Passion in the Desert, and then in parentheses say, listen only, do not watch, and then leave that part of the title.
Okay.
Because people need to know, don't watch this film.
Yeah.
There's no spoilers. There's no spoiler warning. There's no, guess what you may have missed if we talked about this. There's none of that. The fact that we are talking about it and you're now listening to us talk about this, let that be enough. Please let that be
move
enough.
on. Please move on. Yeah.
I said this before.
Sorry.
I wish we were like a bigger podcast, so that way like us talking about this would like somehow put this movie like back into like back into
imagine this being imagine this like for our podcast be like making it so big that they had like let's redo this is like one of the remakes and they have to remake the film.
It gets like theater re-releases and like they make the Blu-ray and they bring in the cast and crew to like do like this big long sit down interview about it. Like
that's hilarious.
I kind of wish we were that big, but you know what? I agree with him. I agree with you, Chuck. No one needs to watch this. No one needs to watch this.
Nope.
See what I did? I didn't oversell it. I just said don't watch it. That's how you get people not to watch something. You just say it once and that's it. You don't go way above and beyond because then you're building it up.
Okay.
Yep.
But there are some parts.
Some.
There are some parts of this thing that are just like wow. Wow. The reviews that you read, the scenery,
priceless.
The scenery. Whoever wrote that, you don't need to read. You don't need to write reviews. You need to quit. You never need to write another review again. You
Go
need
back to
stop.
tending your garden.
Exactly.
And don't talk to people.
Do not quit your day job, sir. or madam, whomever you are out there. The scenery. Wow.
Yeah. Well, overall, I'm just really happy we never have to talk about this again. And I'm all set. You guys, closing thoughts?
I have none.
I'm speechless.
Wow. Well, thanks to everybody for joining us on this wonderful journey through Passion in the Desert.
Have a good one, everybody.
Yep.
The
See
end.
you later.